What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the boundlessly boisterous Dr. Disaster. And back when Assassin's Creed Shadows came out earlier this year, there was a real fight going on between people who pointed at the available data for Assassin's Creed Shadows and said that it was not selling well, and those who refused to acknowledge stats and instead uncritically believed Ubisoft's claims that this was the most successful game ever.
It's a fake! It's real! It's a fake! It's real! It's a fake! Don't you understand? It is real!
Ubisoft kept putting out updates on their social media talking about the number of players playing the game, which would include anyone who played Shadows on Ubisoft Plus, anyone who bought the game on Steam and then refunded it within hours, or anyone who received a free copy of the game with the purchase of PC hardware. But what they did not announce were the pure sales numbers, because they knew that they were getting their asses kicked. They hid behind those player numbers, and the mainstream media and the Ubisoft defenders went out of their way to protect Ubisoft. Meanwhile, most people were looking at this situation going,
"For God's sake, just give me the damn number!"
Well, finally we got the numbers courtesy of a few sites like Circana, an industry analytics site which gets fed sales data from developers. Here is data from the site Alinea Analytics, which broke down the sales numbers for Assassin's Creed Shadows in its first 2 months. In March, this chart shows that they sold 1.2 million copies of the game, and then in April, they sold another 370,000 or so. When you combine that with the data from Steam, which shows about 743,000 sold thus far, this suggests they've sold somewhere around 2.5 million copies, which admittedly doesn't include Xbox, but they are usually quite a bit behind Steam and PlayStation, and for a major AAA game that cost a reported $300 to $350 million after marketing, this is a major failure.
We're doomed! Doomed! Doomed, I tell ya!
With all of this context in mind, though, it is no surprise to hear that Ubisoft is now ceasing to report their sales data to Circana. They are clearly embarrassed about their sales figures, and they do not want transparency. This is a company that is in a full-scale retreat from the truth, that their games are being utterly rejected by gamers, which is why news has come out suggesting that a couple of Assassin's Creed games that were supposed to come out this year have been pushed back. The Claws of Awaji DLC for Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to release in a couple weeks, and we have heard almost nothing from Ubisoft about this. They are clearly on the run. Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, I have started uploading content onto Rumble, so make sure to follow me over there, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where I keep a list of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But anyhow, let's talk about Ubisoft and their attempt to stifle transparency of their company. For a publicly traded company, this should really set off alarm bells for people. When looking for something to invest in, the last thing that I want to see in a company is an insistence on trying to keep things hidden, especially considering all of the negative PR that has been surrounding this company in the past few years. But let's read about Ubisoft refusing to share their data with Circana. This article here comes from the site Tech for Gamers, which will be linked in the description. It says, despite their desperate attempt to make a comeback, Ubisoft still couldn't hit the mark with the recent Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. While the latter was a success in the publisher's book, the same cannot be said for Star Wars Outlaws. Regarding sales, Ubisoft has kept the official sales numbers for these games close to its chest. That is, they've stopped sharing figures with other sources, such as leading analyst firm Circana. Why it matters. For Ubisoft, to stop sharing sales figures means that their recent titles performed poorly. Perhaps they're trying to control the sales narrative by not revealing figures and instead labeling the game's performance as good. And this just goes right along with everything that we have learned about this company over the past year or so. Back when Assassin's Creed Shadows came out, they tweeted about their player count, and like good little soldiers, the mainstream media regurgitated that information in their headlines, insinuating that the 3 million people who played the game had all purchased the game. And of course, the very important distinction between player count and sales figures is that players have not all purchased the game. For example, if I bought a physical copy of the game, played it, and then I lent it to my friend and he plays it on his account, then that would count as 2 players, but it's only 1 purchase. But beyond this whole controversy, you might remember this news from late last year. Ubisoft was reportedly pushing Steam to hide the player count on their platform. You see, back when this news came out, the Steam release of Star Wars Outlaws had just happened, and it was an embarrassing failure. They managed only about 3,400 players concurrently at the game's max. This made Ubisoft look really bad, and they were trying to push Gabe Newell into allowing them to hide their numbers when Assassin's Creed Shadows came out. And now we can see why. They knew they were going to flop. For some games, this might have seemed like a successful launch, hitting about 65,000 concurrent players at its peak, but for an Assassin's Creed game, particularly one which was as high profile as Shadows, being set in feudal Japan, which players had been asking for since the series launched almost 20 years ago. But anyhow, for a game like this, well, suffice to say, they ended up with numbers that were only a little over 2/3 of Dragon Age the Veilguard's numbers on Steam. In other words, this was humiliating. Now, if we go back to this article from Tech for Gamers, it shows an exchange on Blue Sky between Jor Raptor and Matt Piscatella, the guy who runs Circana, where Jor asks, did Ubisoft stop sharing data? They are strangely absent from all the lists. And Piscatella replies simply, yes. And then the article goes on to say, until June, Ubisoft was sharing sales data with Circana as Assassin's Creed Shadows came in 3rd place as the best-selling game in the US. The title wasn't present in the July sales chart, not because the game's sales dropped, but because Ubisoft stopped sharing data with Circana. On social media, Matt Piscatella, executive director of Circana, confirmed this. Ubisoft's absence from this list could be to avoid negativity. Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws attracted significant controversy, each due to their own issues. And yeah, it definitely looks like Ubisoft is doing what they always do, trying like hell to control the narrative. But in this article here from Insider Gaming, we see them trying to control that narrative some more, pushing out the good news that Ubisoft is working on a new Rayman game. But in this same article, if we skip down a ways, you can see that actually Ubisoft appears to still be in full retreat. This is a list of all the games that Ubisoft supposedly has coming out in 2026 and 2027, and at the bottom of that list, you can see that they mention Project Obsidian, which is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, and Project Invictus, a multiplayer Assassin's Creed game, and both of those were originally supposed to come out in the next few months by the end of 2025, but they're being pushed back, and I expect this is because Ubisoft wants to do with them what they did with Assassin's Creed Shadows, hot on the heels of the backlash from Star Wars Outlaws, where gamers made fun of them for making a sloppy-ass game that was trying to push woke shit with their ugly female version of Han Solo. Hot on the heels of that, Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to come out in November, but they pushed the game back, and it eventually released in March. I speculated then, and in hindsight it sure seems like I was correct, but I speculated that they have been trying to wait out the anti-woke movement, hoping that our momentum would die down. This is also why Assassin's Creed Hexa, which was supposed to come out late this year or early next year, that game, which features an all-female crew of witches, that was also pushed back into some indeterminate time in the next couple of years. I strongly suspect they are waiting for negativity to die down, trying to control the narrative. This is likely why they haven't said much about the Assassin's Creed Shadows DLC that's releasing in a few weeks. They don't want to reignite the controversy. The next Assassin's Creed game released, where they will make a big deal out of it and advertise the hell out of it, will almost certainly be the Black Flag remake. That was one of their most popular games, and they will try to use it as a palate cleanser. I would be shocked if they don't announce that that one is coming out next. But anyhow, I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft and their pathetic attempts to control the narrative into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching me, Hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.